The airport was loud with voices and rolling suitcases. Mark sat alone near gate 17, staring at the screen that flashed delayed in red. He sighed, frustrated that his trip home was now uncertain. Sarah sat a few chairs away, clutching a worn-out book she wasn't really reading. Their eyes met briefly, just long enough for both to look away quickly, like two strangers not sure if the moment meant anything. But the storm outside raged louder, thunder shaking the glass windows, and the delay stretched longer. When the announcement said, "All flights suspended until further notice," Sarah groaned. Mark gave a half-smile, the kind people give when they share the same misfortune. Hours passed. They exchanged small talk, first about the storm, then about travel, then about family. Mark learned Sarah was visiting her sick mother, and Sarah discovered Mark was returning from a job interview that could change his life. There was a weight in their stories, like hidden struggles carried in silence. The storm outside was violent, but inside, something soft was beginning to grow, a fragile thread tying two strangers together. When the flight was finally canceled, the airline offered hotel vouchers. Mark noticed Sarah hesitate, unsure if it was safe in a strange city. "We can go together," he said gently. And though it was reckless, though they barely knew each other, Sarah nodded. It felt like trusting the storm itself, yet somehow safer than being alone. The hotel room walls hummed with silence after the chaos of the airport. Their rooms were across the hall, yet they still lingered in the lobby, sipping weak coffee. The city lights glowed outside, but Sarah's mind was far away, back with her sick mother. Mark could see the sadness in her eyes. "You don't have to carry it all alone," he said. She didn't answer, but the way her shoulders relaxed said she had heard him. That night, Mark couldn't sleep. He thought of Sarah's voice, soft but heavy with grief. He wondered why he felt drawn to her when hours ago she was just a stranger. Across the hall, Sarah lay awake too, surprised by how much comfort a stranger's kindness had given her. She had promised herself long ago never to depend on anyone again. Life had taught her that people leave. But Mark's steady eyes unsettled that belief. The next morning they shared breakfast, laughing at burnt toast and watery eggs. It was light, almost like they were old friends. But when Mark's phone rang with news of his job offer, joy and worry clashed inside him. The new job meant moving far away. Sarah smiled and congratulated him, but her eyes dimmed. It was too soon to matter, yet it did. Both of them felt it, the sharp reminder that timing could destroy what fate had begun. Weeks passed after that strange night. They exchanged numbers before boarding separate flights, both unsure if it meant anything real. But messages turned into calls, and calls turned into late-night confessions. Mark shared his struggles with adjusting to a demanding new job. Sarah told him about her mother's worsening health. Their connection deepened not because life was easy but because it was hard, and they carried it together. Still, storms followed them. Mark's long hours made him miss Sarah's calls. Sarah's fear of losing her mother made her push Mark away at times. They fought, sometimes bitterly. Once, Sarah shouted, "Why do you even care? You're just going to leave like everyone else." Mark froze, hurt by her words, but instead of walking away, he whispered, "I'm still here." It was not a smooth love. It was messy, raw, filled with misunderstandings and patched-up silences. But underneath it all was something real, something that grew stronger with every trial. They realized love was not about perfect timing or easy moments. It was about choosing, again and again, even when it was hard. Years later, Sarah stood at the hospital window watching rain fall just like that first night. Mark held her hand tightly as doctors worked to save her mother. The fear was suffocating, but Mark never let go. When the news finally came that her mother would survive, Sarah collapsed into his arms, crying with both relief and exhaustion. It was in that fragile moment she knew. Love wasn't just passion or laughter or even longing, it was this. It was the man who stood in storms with her, who carried her pain like it was his own. Mark kissed her forehead gently and whispered, "We'll be okay." Months later, Mark proposed under the same stormy sky where they first met, as if fate had come full circle. Sarah laughed through tears, saying yes, knowing their love had been tested by distance, fear and doubt, and had survived. On their wedding day, the sky threatened rain, but the storm never came. Mark and Sarah stood together, not as strangers trapped by a canceled flight, but as two souls who had found home in each other. The crowd cheered, the music rose, and in that moment they both understood. Sometimes what feels like a delay is really destiny. And this time, nothing could stop their flight.